want to make the cars in Detroit.
Sports has always been something that Americans rally around to come together. They really do. You won the popular vote. You won all the swing states. But still, Kamala Harris got 75 million votes in the country.
Well, if you believe the whole thing. And I can tell you, just prior to COVID coming in, we were doing so well. The greatest we've ever done. There's never been an economy like ours. Anywhere in the world, we were doing so well. We're eating China's lunch. I tariffed China for $700 billion over a period of years. We were doing so well. And then we had the COVID. We had to worry about that, and we took care of it. We did a great job with it, and then it was back to business. But I would say this. We have to come together. But to come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success. In my first term, when we hit that number, and I mean the day before I heard the word COVID or pandemic, they told me, sir, I think there's a pandemic. That was not a good thing. I said, tell me about pandemics. But the day before we hit that word, I had a meeting with political people and pollsters and everything else, and they said, sir, if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln got together and ran as president and vice president, they couldn't beat you. Our economy was so good. You know that. The best ever, the best we've ever had. And everybody was coming together. I was getting a call from very liberal people, senators, congressmen, people outside, people that normally weren't speaking to me. And they were all they were coming together. Then we had the pandemic, and, it was back to work. We had to do that. And, I was very proud to have handed over the country, and the stock market was higher than it was previous to the pandemic coming in. It was an amazing achievement. We did a good job, but it was a terrible thing all over the world. Think of it. Millions of people all over the world. Countries were destroyed, far worse than what happened to us. I mean, some countries were they're still suffering from the throes of the pandemic. But the word is success. Success will bring the country together, but it's hard. And I say it's hard. I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous. You saw, I quoted a couple of things, long-distance race where the man won by 5 hours and 25 minutes. We're #1 in cost per pupil. That's all you have to know. We have to make a change. I want to send education back to the states. If you send education to Iowa and to Indiana and to a lot of these states that are so good, to Idaho, they have no debt, they have no crime, they have no this, they have no that. It's like perfect, because the best states are, if you look at the list of the top, the best countries for education, it's Norway and Sweden and Denmark and Finland. And by the way, China's right up there in the top 5, which is pretty amazing for those that say it's too big for that. It's rated in the top 5. We're number 40. And we can have, if you take those states and many others, I think 35 states, they would be as good as Denmark and Norway. They would be as good as the #1, #2, #3, #4. But you could take New York as an example, and you don't have to do one. You do 5 or 6. You do Suffolk County, you do Nassau County, you do Westchester County, and then you do upstate New York, and you do Manhattan. You have 5 or 6 or 7. And they'd be small enough where they could really give some personalized education. Also, the spotlight would be on them. It wouldn't be a country. It would be just on Manhattan, or it would be on Nassau County or Westchester County. I've been watching 50 years, 60 years. They go in, they occupy, they get slaughtered, everything's terrible, everyone leaves, they go back. This has been going on for forever, right? Forever. Now it's essentially a demolition site. There's practically no building that's livable in the whole thing, on the whole Gaza Strip. I say we go in, we knock them all down, we just create something. No more Hamas. There's no Hamas there. There's nobody there. We move them into beautiful areas of the Middle East. I'd like to go to Egypt. They have a lot of land. I'd like to go to Jordan. I'd like to go to others. And we'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. But we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future.